G'day mates, how's it going? So, I got a request from one of my other gameplay videos asking me to give them some tips and tricks on their Zarya. This is Ricochet. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly. I was just going to leave a comment about what you should improve on your video. However, I started to fill up lots of space on my page and realized I would be writing you a whole story. So I decided this was going to be better. Now, please forgive me. I don't have any fancy, expensive, wonderful equipment. I do not have a recording room. So my audio might be a little terrible. But let's get on with the video anyway. See how I can help you.
Alright, okay, you're going Genji over Zarya. This person playing Sombra. Hopefully you have the healer in the meantime.
Alright, so I can see you're a gold player. Just keep in mind, I am not a professional player. I'll be just pointing out all of the mistakes that you make, things that you need to be working on. Now, these are also things that I make mistakes with as well. You are obviously going to get a lot better information from someone who is a higher tier player, as I am only a platinum player. Alright, so first up, we haven't looked at our team composition. So we kind of need to know, do we have 2 healers? Do we have 2 tanks? What are our DPS like? Everyone seems friendly though, they're all saying hello. You should be grouped up with your team. Straight up, I don't like the fact that you've wandered off on your own. You're not with the healer, you're not with another DPS, so you can't bubble and get some charge. And now you've run into 2 people. So you're in a bit of a dangerous situation by yourself. Best to get out there. Okay, so 2 things. You don't need to be telling your team that there are turrets there. It was just 1 turret. If it was a room filled with turrets, maybe tell your teammates don't go in there because it's dangerous and you'll charge the Symmetra. Just destroy the turret and move on. The other thing is your Roadhog there who you bubbled, he's backing away out of the fight. There was no reason to bubble him because he was getting practically no damage and you got barely any charge out of that. I can see that someone is up in the background over there who is probably going to engage in the fight, who may have needed the bubble more than the Roadhog. Yeah, see your Genji mate here, he has half health. So a shield on him would have been great because his intention is obviously to get in here and attack these 2. But that's alright. We'll see what happens. Okay, so he managed to do that by himself, which is fine. But in future, it would have been better to have a bubble pop up on him. A good call on the soldier. Just in future, say top right for a specific location of where he is. There's a bit too much chat happening. It's good to communicate and encourage your teammates like you have been doing. You know, it's important to keep the team motivation up there. When they do a good job, tell them they've done a good job. But we don't need to know how many limbs they have right now. You're kind of in the middle of a fight where your opposing team is coming in to engage. So you need the comms clear for when they do come in, just in case you get a flanker up on you, they attack the healer, stuff like that. Again, I think you and your teammates need to sit down and talk about appropriate team communication. Your friend shouting, I need help, but not saying where is a real problem. All he's doing is getting panicked, which in turn makes you panicked, and mistakes happen. Okay, that wasn't too good. I wouldn't have bubbled there. I would have gone straight in at that little outhouse here and hid behind there, just in case he wanted to try and get multiple kills, because he had access to 3 people, your Symmetra here, yourself, the Lucio, and the McCree. So he could have got 4 kills then if he really wanted to wait it out there. Telling people what your charge is isn't really important. I'm not sure if you've been watching professional players in their games where they tell the team to keep them alive because they're high charge, but it isn't important. 1, you weren't fully charged. You only got 40 power out of that. And 2, the team is obviously coming in and engaging. You need the comms clear for other people. I also wouldn't be engaging with the McCree because you have lost your healer, your only healer on the team. Good call on the Zarya. Alright, Symmetra shield has just come past you from left to right. That means there's a Symmetra to your left somewhere. You should be on the comms telling your team Symmetra is to our left, warning them that they're there, and either go in with them to help kill her or have just the DPS go and sort her out. There's still a lot of unnecessary chatter going on. We've also 3.5 minutes into your video and you haven't once brought up your team menu. It's really important to bring it up. As Zarya, there are so many wombo combos that you can do with your Grav. Yeah, for instance, I'm sure your Genji friend is going to love jumping in on that with his Dragon Blade. So you need to be telling him, hey, I'm really close to my ult. You need to be getting on the chat wheel and telling your team that you're close. You also need to be checking to see, okay, who is still in the fight on my team and their team? Have anyone changed any of their roles? Stuff like that. It's really important to keep just periodically bringing your team menu up. Good call. No one has really gone in there with you. I wouldn't go in too far. Alright, good. You've told them you've got the ult. You should be telling your team as well with the line wheel, so they are aware when you are going to grab. didn't bubble though. You may have clicked the button, but you have to remember there's a half a second animation for your bubble to come out of the Zarya gun and to cover you. So you really have to be quick. The bubble stays up there for quite a long time, so even as the Diva Bomb was flying in, you could have bubbled and been safe if no one was attacking you.
I bubbled! How? I swear I bubbled. I swear. I almost have my ultimate. I have my ultimate. I just don't want Diva to eat it. Oh, if you want to do it, lots of damage. Oh no, you can do it, you can do it. Do it!
I wouldn't have listened to your friend there about doing the grab. No offense to your friend, but there's hardly anyone there. It's just Diva from what I can see. But it's good that you got it off and it wasn't eaten by the Diva mech. Also, you don't be too concerned about Diva being there. You can get her to bait her defense matrix out before throwing it. You can throw your grab at the floor or a wall. Like there's, hang on, let me get my pen tool out. There's these platforms up here which you can shoot the grab at and have people sucked up into it here. You could have made Diva run away. She doesn't have to be out of the mech before you grab. It's just about being vigilant about has she used her defense matrix yet or not. Yeah, you got pretty lucky that 2 other people got swallowed into that. Alright, there's a good call on the Bastion, but you need to tell them where Bastion is. Sure, it's quite obvious. He's directly in front of where you need to stick the payload, but you need to be on the comm saying, here's where we need to stick the payload, not just saying there's Bastion. You hide way too much. Zarya has 200 health and 200 shields on her, and then she has a bubble which takes 20 damage. So she's quite powerful. She can get into people's faces and do a lot of damage and stay in the fight for so long, as long as she's getting heals. And that Lucio is sticking with you really, really close, so he wants you to get in there and do some really awesome damage. That's a good call. I would have backed completely out of that fight because quite a lot of your team members were missing. Now this is where I would jump on to your line wheel and tell people to regroup. Yeah, you have 2.5 minutes left on the clock. There's plenty of time to get that point attacked. Instead of complaining that you need healing, say so in your chat wheel. That's what the chat wheel is there for. Lucio's just trying to do his job and get you back on the point as fast as possible. He's not turning around to check on you, which is bad on him as well. but don't complain in your team chat when you're not talking to the whole group and asking for heals. Use that chat wheel. It's very important.
Again with the damage. Jesus Christ. Oh, I guess you couldn't reach. Oh, go ultimate. I go ultimate. Okay, don't use it yet. Don't use it yet. I'll tell you when you can. Start pushing it. Don't use it. Don't use it. Don't use it. Don't get killed. Okay, yes. Alright, you can use it at any point now. Okay.
That was a very nice grab. Good bubble.
Not today! Basket! Where are you going? 100% charge. Here we go. Got you. Thank you.
You should get back to your healer because he would be in a lot of danger right now because 3 of you left him alone.
Was he dead?
But these are very good kills.
Need help with basket. Got him. Okay, I think we might actually, we should have this. Yeah, oh my god, last moment, my charge.
Alright, that was a lot better than the beginning of the game. You became more aggressive and engaged more within the fight, which you should have been doing from the very beginning. I understand that in the beginning the opposing team was very slow and trickling back in, so you couldn't get a lot of charge, but you should be in the fight all the time to get your charge up.
At the last moment, alright, I was 100% charged for a long time, but like, anyway, so.
Yes, you were. It was very good.
Luke's coming out here, the, Nello, there's gonna be a montage in December, maybe, I don't know. No, there will be probably gonna be PC gameplay, because that's really nice. Dragon Blade now. You're gonna have like 1 or 2 of them. Right, so PlayStation. You should get, yes, right? Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'm just gonna go back a little bit to check out your team. So, you on Zarya, your friend on Genji, you have Symmetra, Junkrat, Soldier, and an Ana. This isn't bad. However, I think you should probably get into the team chat and ask if someone else could be a tank. Like a shield tank like Orisa or Reinhardt would be very effective on that first point, especially to protect Soldier and Ana. Junkrat is very good because there's lots of high places for him to sit and just lob his grenades and cause all kinds of havoc. And of course your mate on Genji is good too, having the flanker.
Probably going to be PC gameplay, because that's really nice. Dragon Blade now. You're gonna have like 1 or 2 of them. Right, so PlayStation. You should get, yes, right? Oh my goodness.
Okay, he did switch to Reinhardt, that was good.
This guy should be ashamed of himself. Oh yeah, that's Batman. No, literally that's his name, Batman. And wasn't he playing Soldier before? Yeah, I think so. Actually, I'm surprised he didn't die, but his positioning was really bad at the beginning. Exactly. Like, he was legit here. Awesome. Just firing. I shot him 3 times, got a hook him and shot him. Then afterwards, he was like, there, which is where he should have been in the beginning. Then he came here.
I would be using your chat wheel right now to tell people let's group up. You should be a bit closer to the point where your Genji friend is, so you can lob your balls into the fight. You can get some energy going. You know, or even stand down below with your Reinhardt. But you guys need to be grouped up a bit better. Where are you going? You should be with your teammates. Ana cannot heal you there. This is really bad positioning. You're right in their spawn. You're asking for heals and your healer isn't in the chat. Remember, you only have one healer. She can't heal everyone at once. Yeah, it was there and you realised that.
Sorry,
Your healer is dead now. I would not be going in.
Alright, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up.
I'm trying.
I'ma help
I'm
you.
so slow. I'm so slow.
You you shouldn't have gone in to begin with. You can see in the top right hand corner, your healer was dead. You have one healer. You need to be checking this constantly, especially when you're moving towards the point after you have died as well. It is so obvious to see that things are not going your team's way. Get on that voice wheel and tell your teammates to group up.
Oh, teleporter. Sorry, I was doing better when we were on attack.
What is she aiming at?
Ready? Go in there. Oh, charge.
I flipped it, I flipped it! Oh no, I don't think I actually did. Something happened though. Good things to happen.
I think you need to do some adjusting on your sensitivity as well. You're a little bit all over the place. It's good that you want to be able to react quickly, but there's a difference between reacting quickly and not hitting your target. On my Zarya settings, I personally set it up for Zarya to be on 60 with her sensitivity, and I do a lot of strafing, so that's where you move left to right and backwards and forwards rather than moving the weapon cursor around all over the place, just so then I can keep on point to someone who is jumping up and down or moving side to side trying to avoid you. I think now there's also a sensitivity option for your barriers, so you can adjust that to how you feel comfortable and to make you more accurate with your movements, with placing your barriers, with tracking your beam individually to your attacking and your bubbles.
Go. I outdamaged the bastion.
Right, so Mercy and Bastion have both ulted. You need to tell your teams to be careful, to back out a bit.
Oh, I'm grabbing. Oh, sorry, bad grab. Bad grab. I panicked.
It's not a bad grab. You stopped Bastion in his place so he couldn't come after anyone. The only problem is that you've now lost your healer again. So now that your healer is gone, I would back up to a safe spot and wait for them, because your opposing team is going to regroup and come back in.
It was a bad grab. I only got the bastion in it.
Why did you even grab?
Accident. Sorry, I panicked.
I grabbed it, I dragged it, but you didn't fight it.
Sorry.
Don't worry. Wait.
You're too far in the fight. You need to stop asking for heals in the voice chat. You're only in the chat with your friend. The healer cannot hear you. You need to get on that voice line wheel and ask for heals, or go into the group chat. But it is better to use the voice line wheel because your healer is a stranger. You don't know him or her. If they hear heal me, heal me, heal me, they don't know who's talking. They don't know, is it Zarya talking, is it Genji talking, is it Reinhardt talking. They're not going to be able to pick you out and heal you in time. So using the heal wheel, you just have to press it once. Will also place your location on the map for the healer, which is really important, so they can spin around and look for you. Zenyatta is ulting. I would back out of there.
Especially when I'm 100% charged.
Again, you don't need to be telling your team what charge you're at. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter to your team. It only matters to you.
No random reason. Oh, I'm back in. Plus taking crap ton of damage.
Do not go back in the fight. Majority of your team is dead. Back out. Do not poke them. The only thing you're going to do is bring out their ults or possibly die before your team gets back.
Try get the point. How much is in the ground again?
69%.
Be careful, it's going into the top thingy.
Yeah, I haven't died. Oh my god, I mean, there was a damage boosted soldier and a hunter coming at me. Down the point, down the point. We've got 30 seconds left. We can at least get the boss.
Alright. How close is the ground?
What? 78%.
Okay. You should be hanging back and waiting for your team to respawn. There's no point in trying to get into a fight 6 against 1. All of the other members on your team should be backing out as well.
Like, I'm trying to get, charged. Why the hell is all the symmetry just putting shield in front of it? I'll go, ultimate as well.
I would back out around the corner. Okay, that was good. That was a nice grab. You need to be bubbling your Genji friend. Alright, that was very good. Alright, you're flicking your team menu up now. You need to be doing this more often throughout the fight.
No point in deflecting that. Okay, bubble me, we're gonna go in, okay?
I already bubbled you.
Okay, I would be communicating more about the bubbles. When you have placed a bubble on someone, call it out. Genji, I've bubbled you, so he knows. Okay, remember it only takes 20 damage and it only lasts for like a second. So they need to power you up and then back out. And then they are also aware that it's on cooldown, so they know not to be as aggressive.
Because you jumped in and I got like 20 charge off that, so like...
Oh, no.
That was a bit silly. You saw the Hanzo ult and then you walked straight into it. There was no reason to die there. You do have a teleporter there, so you can get back in the fight quickly, but you should tell your team to back out. Zenyatta is ulting. You shouldn't have moved in there. You should back out a bit.
I can't even... I'm trying to save our honor by bubbling her, and she's like, nah.
Oh, no.
Oh, they destroyed the TP.
Okay, doesn't matter. We're still gonna hold this because they are running out of time really fast. We can do this. That's all to go.
You should be aware as well is that you're going to engage the fight without your Ana. She's just respawned now. I understand that you're a bit desperate to try and not let them get this point, but it's not the end of the world if they do. You still have a whole other section to protect. It would have been better to let them have it and regroup with your team. Alright, so your Junkrat's just told you that his Riptide is almost ready. So you need to be telling him that your grab is also almost ready. You should back out of that. None of your team is with you.
I'm 80% ultimate. I can get it really fast.
Okay, your Genji's overextending a bit. You have to remember the enemy spawn is right beyond that hallway. You guys are way too close to their spawn room. They're going to spawn a lot faster than you will if you die.
I'm taking that. I need healing.
Don't grab yet. Don't.
Yeah, I've got a 90 plus. Wait, I want to.
Alright, don't use it yet.
He's gonna use his ultimate. I'm ready to go.
Okay, use the. Okay, go.
Oh, wait. Damn it, I
Okay,
died.
don't need it. Don't need it. Don't need it. Don't need it. Don't need it.
I was in Hanzo's dragon, sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna back off. Yeah, back off. Back off. Back off.
You need to be telling your whole team to regroup as well.
They have Valkyrie and a
We
Timber.
have to. We have to.
And tell your team that you have Grav.
Right.
It's kind of pointless. Because just
Don't grab. Don't grab. Back off. Back off. Complete disengage. They're running onto us.
Should I do it now?
Wait a second. Wait for them. Back off. We're gonna use it like the last second. We're like, try to throw everything in.
I would have left that Winston asleep so that it wasted some of his ult time.
Damn it,
They
don't
went
go
too
live.
slow. Okay, doesn't matter. Right. Back off. Let them push in. When they engage, when you grab, okay?
I'm taking so much damage. Oh, no, heal me.
She's not in your chat. You need to ask for it on the wheel. That was a really nice graph. Don't forget to bubble the people going in to engage. It's so important.
Gold elimination. Holy hell.
Okay, so that wasn't bad. There's just a couple of nitpicky things. So you need to do something about your sensitivity. Your tracking is a bit all over the place. The way you engage the enemy, especially when you're missing a healer, you need to pay more attention to who has died on your team, who has died on the other team. It's very important. You need to bring up that team menu to keep an eye on. Has my team changed? Has the opposing team changed? Who is dead on my team and the opposing team? Do I have ults? Because if you notice changes on the other team as well, you can say, okay, this person has changed to that character. If they've got Tracer, Diva, you can estimate when they have their ults, so you can be wary about pushing in or backing away from an objective as well. Your bubbles, I would hold onto the bubbles. You're a bit too preemptive with them. Only bubble people who are engaging in fights. There's no point in using the bubbles on someone who is backing out unless they are low on health. Yeah, you really need to be using your voice wheel a lot more. Telling your friend Genji that you need heals does nothing. He can't pull out his sword and heal you. Other than that, this wasn't too bad. This was actually very good. I think for a gold player, you're very good with Zarya. I hope I haven't offended you with things that I have suggested, and that you can take some of my constructive criticism back and improve your gameplay. Alright, thanks for watching. See ya.